I'm Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Animal Sanctuary. Welcome to Royals at the Ranch for Thursday, September 15th, 2022. As you know, we started our series Corn Snake Corral, and that's going to be on most Thursdays out of the month, usually 3 out of 4 Thursdays out of the month. Royals at the Ranch will be airing on the third Thursday of each month. Now, September happens to have 5 Thursdays. You saw episodes of Corn Snake Corral for the first 2 Thursdays. This is our 3rd Thursday, so as promised, you're getting a Royals at the Ranch episode. Next Thursday, you have a Corn Snake Corral coming, and then I think for the 5th and extra Thursday of the month, I will air the, as promised, longer video of Royals in your homes. I've collected a lot of video footage and a lot of photos for you to view for that. In the next episode of Corn Snake Corral, which is airing Thursday, September 22nd, we have our first segment of corn snakes in your home. In this episode of Royals at the Ranch, I wanted to show you some of our snakes just interacting as they do on a daily or nightly basis. And as you watch them, I want you to start looking at their body language and behavior and identifying what you think are interactions that are totally being performed by them via their own free will and choice. In other words, they're choosing to engage in whatever activity you're seeing them engage in, and what activities that they may be engaging in that they're just tolerating. You shouldn't be seeing any fear, anxiety, and distress in this episode. You should be seeing snakes engaging in a choice-rich life, and you're going to see some behaviors that they're doing under captive management out of their own free will and of their own agency. And then you may see some other behaviors, likely interactions with me, that they're tolerating. And I really want you to pay close attention. I want you to re-watch the episodes on gradual desensitization. Episode 1 was about getting the Royals used to our presence and proximity. Episode 2 was introducing touch and just a tiny bit of handling. And episode 3 in that series, which I plan to air next month, is going to be lots on the actual handling part. But I want to make sure that you are mentally prepared for that before we get that far, and that you guys are not rushing your snakes into that full out handling part. So I'm going to talk and narrate this episode as you watch this video footage and talk a little bit about tolerance and how that relates to a choice-rich life and choice-based care that we are trying to provide our snakes. I know that some keepers say that choice-based interactions and cooperative care training takes too long when you could just reach in and pick up your snake. And well, if it bites you, it doesn't really hurt. That's not the point though, is it? We want our snakes to like us, or at the very least not be afraid of us. And we want our snakes to view us as non-threatening, something that's part of their environment that they don't have to be worried about, or that we're a safe place to be. If they view us as neutral or safe, then we're likely to get to see them more, and we're likely to have less issues with managed care. If they're afraid of us, if they perceive us as a threat, or they associate bad experiences with us, then we're very likely to see them less, encounter more defensive behavior from them, and have a greater level of difficulty managing their care. We work with the snake in front of us. We work with who and what they are, and we don't try to make them something they're not. It takes however long it takes for our individual to progress, and that may be fast or slow or somewhere in between. Our schedule is not their schedule, and what may seem slow to us may be reasonable to them. Now let's talk about tolerance. That's Tolerance, tolerance. If we can work with our snake enough that they're perhaps not choosing to load up in the carrier and going to the vet, but tolerating it so that it's not a detrimental experience to their behavioral health or to our relationship with them, then sometimes that has to be good enough. We should strive for cooperation and accept tolerance for some things. I mean, some people don't like going to the dentist, but they tolerate it. We can teach our snakes to cooperate or to consent to lots of care procedures and lots of tasks, and we can make many of these experiences very reinforcing for the snake. This works really well unless you have a snake who has arrived in your care having already had previously negative or very bad experiences with people or with certain care procedures or with captive management in general. Then They're already starting out from a negative position, and you have a lot of work ahead of you. Teaching a snake like that they can engage in choice-based interactions, cooperative care, and that they can learn to tolerate certain experiences that aren't going to harm them is going to take longer for a snake who has had prior aversive experiences. You're going to need to work harder, be more patient, and lower your expectations. But believe me, change is absolutely possible. If your snake is nervous and anxious about being handled or having management tasks done, even those tasks that don't directly involve the snake, but just things you're doing around them, then you will need to move slowly and very carefully at first. Keep an eye on your snake's body language for any signs of fear, anxiety, and distress so that you know when their tolerance threshold has been reached or is about to be reached, and so that you know when to back off. You definitely don't want to push your snake over threshold or into that red zone on our behavior chart, which I'll of course link in the video description. If you've been working with your snake and they seem to be getting worse, it's time to stop and reevaluate your approach. Perhaps you need to modify your approach or try something different. Usually, if the snake is not showing progress, even very, very minute, slow progress, if tolerance is not improving, or if they're getting worse, like they're displaying more escape and avoidance behavior or defensive behavior, maybe they're hiding more, maybe they've stopped eating, it's usually because you're pushing too hard, expecting too much too soon, and you need to back up and make things easier for your snake before moving forward. Remember that not just food, but also freedom, a sense of agency, and the ability to make choices can be reinforcing. Enrichment items, exercise, exploration, quiet time, being left alone, fresh water, different substrate options, novel items, and other things can potentially be reinforcing for your snake. So you need to really get to know your snake's likes and dislikes. What are they comfortable with and what are they afraid of? What are their preferences when they're given choices? And really learn what their behavior means. In other words, what is their behavior communicating to you in any given situation and at any given time? That choice-based interactions and consent behaviors and cooperative care behaviors all improve the well-being of our snakes. When we're using force-based management, it's going to diminish our snake's well-being, and we certainly don't want to do that.